Hello, and welcome to another episode of Ask Unique Events Show. Thank you so much for joining us. I can't tell you how much it means to us that you are watching these. I think it provides a lot of content for those of you that are planning a wedding, friends, family members. Shout this from the rooftops. We are so happy to bring this to you. This episode is all about why things cost the way they do, and most importantly, somebody planning a wedding, I think one of the first things that they tend to say when they start to find out prices of items tend to go, why do things cost so much? So Travis, why do things cost so much?
It's true. We're going to try to shed as much light on this, I guess, as possible in the little amount of time we have here. But I think it kind of starts off, Pinterest is a huge thing, and as we always try to share with people, generally speaking, the pictures that make it to Pinterest that are people's inspiration images and things like that come from really, higher end, usually, higher price point weddings. And so that's one of the first things is shedding light on the fact that most of these aren't from everyday weddings, like the huge, there are some in there. I mean, you see a picture of a bouquet, I mean, that could be attainable, easily. But when you're seeing, entire room shots of these things that have, massive centerpieces and the whole room is draped off and
light trussing,
or they've got, huge, production installations and video and all this stuff. I mean, they're just the ones that make it to Pinterest tend to be ones that the ones that get a lot of clicks and get shared a lot are, they cost a lot of money in the first place, which is how they made it to Pinterest. So, but when you start getting into individual services, I think within every vendor you might consider booking, you've got a range of things. You've got expertise, experience, equipment that they have. So you compare a $500 photographer versus a photographer that is $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. A lot of people that don't know what they're getting think, well, that's just a ripoff. Like, why would somebody spend $7,000 on that? I think one of the first things to consider is price versus value. Value is what you're getting for what you spend, and price is what it costs. And there's a huge difference in those. And we're on some of these Facebook groups, and constantly see people asking, where's a place I can find a cheap florist, or where can I find a cheap photographer? Where can I find I need a cheap DJ?
Your initial question should never include the word cheap in it, because I think once you start defining what you're looking for as cheap, it's like you're destined, I don't want to say you're destined for failure, but you're instantly removing any sort of quality and value.
It's like when I see somebody ask for the word, they need a cheap photographer, it's like, oh, well, they don't really care about the photographer, they just need somebody to take pictures. And that's where it starts getting to, oh, I know this person that does that. I know this person that has a $1,200 camera. They can take pictures. Anybody can show up and take pictures, but are they a photographer? Are they professional? Do they run a business? Do they have reviews? Or, are they proven? Do they have images you can look at that look professional and that you would consider to be a quality that you're happy with? And a lot of it is just an insurance policy as well. I mean, generally speaking, somebody that's been in business longer, again, has the reviews, or, they tend to be at a higher price point. But that's all. If you view it as almost like an insurance policy, generally speaking, the higher, generally the more expensive a company is, you tend to be able to trust that more than one that is a lower price point. Now, again, as I always default to, it doesn't mean you can't get a good photographer for $500 who's just trying to, just starting out, trying to get a portfolio built, prove their name, all that. But it's just more of a risk. And so anyway, so within all the other professions aside from what we do, you just have to understand that the difference in price usually there's a myriad of things you need to be looking at to compare what the price of it is versus the value that you're getting for what you spend. And if you're asking if you need a DJ that's lower priced, ask if anybody knows any good lower priced DJs, or what's a great DJ for under X amount of dollars, because to me that makes me think, okay, they care about this at least, but here's the realistic budget that they have, not I need a cheap DJ. Who's a cheap DJ, or or whatever it is. But within what we do, we can speak a little more in detail on some of the stuff we do. From a DJ perspective, if you want to tackle why our DJ price is higher than most, this is one of these things that there's just a lot more to what we do. So
yeah, absolutely. I think it comes down to the experience that you guys are wanting for yourselves and for your guests. If you're looking for somebody, and we're brutally honest when it comes to what we do. As far as what a customer is looking for, we're very honest in saying, here's the differences. So for those that are wanting somebody to come in and have their basic package, we get that asked a lot. You just have a basic package? Well, what are you expecting the basic package to be? We don't. Number one, we come in and we're very proactive on what we do, and we do all these things for a reason. Throughout the years of us DJing, and speaking on behalf of all of our current DJs with us, we know that there are so many things that go into a successful event. And when you start to look at all these things just as a price standpoint, and removing this because you think you don't need it, or removing that because you think you don't need it, slowly but surely it's going to deteriorate the overall experience that I think is really crucial for your guests to have if you want this reception that you're envisioning.
Yeah, and so when you compare the price of our service versus the price of, say, another DJ service, what we do and what the other DJ does, the similarities are we both play music for you. What makes our value, in our opinion, and those of the people that have left reviews for us, what makes our value higher is that we do, we're there playing music for you, but also helping keep the event moving, working on the logistics of things, giving you advice and consultations ahead of time to help set us up to have the best possible chance at having this, less stressful, more enjoyable evening. And if you read through enough of our reviews, you see that, as a DJ company, if you read our reviews and consider us a DJ company, most of our reviews say very little about the actual music. What people love about our company and give us 5-star for value on is everything else that we do. And not everybody's looking for that. So if the other stuff we do isn't important to somebody, then we wouldn't expect them to spend the money it costs to get our company versus somebody that'll show up and play music. But then you get back into anybody can play music. You can rent a sound system and stick somebody back there with an iPod, and you can call them a DJ, and it is what it is. But that's where you're going to see a price difference. And so I guess another thing that we run into too is we have a rental aspect of our business as well. And sometimes people, they just want to rent some chairs, or I just need to get, a chandelier hung somewhere or whatever. And are sometimes surprised by what the cost is. And a lot of times what we have to explain to people, or what they come into quite often, is realizing how much actual work is involved in the rental of a chair, or rental of, say, 300 chairs, to explain to people how much time it takes X number of people to go deliver and set up and install chairs. And explaining to get people to come back at 1 o'clock in the morning, when I need 3 people to come back and pick up 400 chairs from a venue at 1 in the morning, you can't get people to come back at $10 an hour and expect them to be reliable, not be drunk, have some sort of work ethic, look presentable, be able to drive a truck, do all this stuff. The staffing of people to do this weekend, late night, type of thing, like these businesses that do rentals, that's a legitimate expense. That costs a lot of money to send staff out and do all this. And then you have trucks and repairs. We just got a bill for $4,000 repair on one of our trucks that wasn't even broke yet, but it's an impending repair that apparently needs to be done, and just the maintenance of vehicles and things like that, So when you're thinking, why does this cost so much, or why this, a lot of it I think is people just haven't had to deal with putting this type of event on, and they don't get excited. I don't expect anybody to get excited when they start seeing what everything costs, but the reality is there's just a lot of expenses involved in running a legitimate business, not that's not just out of your garage. You're not just like, oh, I do this, a couple times a year or something. I go out and play music for people. To pay staff that's quality staff that goes out and is dedicated to what they do, that will give up all their weekends, with their family to go out and do this type of thing. It's asking a lot of people to do that, and when you ask a lot of people, you have to pay them accordingly. And so I think all businesses that deal in weekend events and weddings and that type of thing run into that. But that I think contributes to why a lot of our customers, or just again couples in general that plan events, you can get that in their mind, like, man, everything's so expensive. There's just a lot of variable things, from experience to actual hard goods to insurance to all these things that you need to do as a business. Taxes, blood taxes.
And on the flip side of that, there's only so much information we are able to give you through email or even through a phone call on what prices cost. I mean, you would be amazed at how many emails I get from customers that say, how much are your chairs? No venue, no date, what color of chairs. There's things that we have to know to give you even an accurate price quote. So you're going to hear me talk a million times throughout the course of dealing with us just how important consultations are. And we're not here to sell you anything. We're not here to reel you in and make you book all these things that aren't important to you. But in order to get the answers that you're looking for, we have to communicate. I know it's really easy in the world of Facebook and social media just to send out a quick text message or Facebook message to get a quick answer back, but we're just not in the industry. We're just not in a position to do that most of the time. We have to have more information. So, I guess the rundown of that is just let us know your location, let us know your date, most importantly, because believe it or not, we are booked on a lot of dates in 2016, even coming up to 2017. So we need to know this information.
I think it's valid. Just a quick side note is you should be trying to meet with any of your important vendors.
Absolutely.
Photographer, I always think photographer is almost more important than it is to meet with us, but the main reason being, you may not like us. You may not like that photographer personally. You just may sit down and get a weird vibe or just not really like their personality. It's like they're with you all day long. You want great pictures, but if this person's going to be hanging out with you all day, like, you should want some sort of like connection with them where you can laugh with them or you're just comfortable around them. And same thing with us. You might sit down with us, we go into the whole spiel of everything we do, and some people have decided, hey, we don't need all of that, or we don't want to spend, that's not that important to us. We're not going to spend that much on you. We might go out and spend twice the average on our photographer because that's really important to us. But meet with people, because I think most people know within about 5 minutes of sitting down with a business whether or not they're comfortable with it or not. Mm-hmm. And at that point, the price doesn't matter. None of the stuff you got via email matters if you don't like the people. So realistically, I don't think I think it's really risky to book something just based on email conversation, because you could hire somebody that's good at writing emails, and and then the person you actually deal with, that's the person you would have talked to possibly, or that owns that business and runs it, you may not like, but you won't know it till it's too late. So yeah, meet with people too.
We hear a lot of crazy stories from customers that come in that have had cousins that have gotten married, or brothers or sisters that have not had a great experience. And when you break their experience down on where it all started, it was the lack of face-to-face interaction. It was the lack of a lot of different things. And when you're focusing more on just the convenience aspect, other things will sacrifice. So we definitely love meeting with people in person. We get a feel for each other at that point. So.
That's true. So hopefully we've shed a little bit of light on why everything costs so much, and we may start, as we bring in more guests into here, ask them why there's, what they, within their service, what makes one service cost more than another. But anyway, hope that it kind of generally shed a little bit of light on things for you. As always, share, like, comment. We'd love to see this out on other people's Facebook pages. Post it to, future brides and grooms' walls, so they can like it and get onto our YouTube channel and watch all the rest of them that we have. And if you have any other vendors or any vendors that are out there that want to sit down with us and talk about your particular service, just let us know. Otherwise, thanks for joining us again, and we'll see you on the next one.